All right, welcome. We're back for more, as Rat would say. This is a very special edition of Inappropriate Earl because of my technological difficulties, where I did a near hour-and-a-half interview with this man, and turns out I wasn't recording through the right speaker, and it was just a big hullabaloo, but he's nice enough to come back. He's a man who you may have seen on the hills. He's a man who you will see on Damaged Goods when that thing gets picked up in 5 years.
2034.
I've never seen a pilot take so long to get picked up. Yeah, we're still editing. It's been 2 years.
I haven't seen anything. Have you seen anything, Earl?
I have not seen anything, but we'll get into that. This is the worst introduction ever. I might have to have him come back a second time just to re-record the introduction. You've seen the movie Dumbbells, which was a great movie. It really was very funny, and just the fact that he got a movie made in this day and age with an all-star cast: Fabio, Jen Murphy, John Huck, Nick Nicotero. I mean, it's a who's who. Please welcome Mr. Brian Drolet.
Thank you for having me, Earl.
Dude, thanks for coming back, man. I'm really apologize that
My pleasure.
I had to, I don't know what I'm doing. And
I'm always better the second time around. So.
Oh, aren't we all?
Yeah, at least that's what they tell me.
No, yeah, well, they're all twats. We met originally at a table read for a pilot we did 2 years ago.
It is correct, where we both took a bathroom break. And as we were peeing at the urinals, I think you looked over and told me that you were so hard right now.
Well, I thought it'd be an icebreaker.
I was just offended. I walked off. I refused to film the pilot. No, I thought it was very funny, and I immediately was like, I like this guy.
Well, I just remember, I think it was you, me, Nick, Nicotera.
Yeah.
And maybe one other guy, and it was a table read of probably 5 guys, 5 girls.
Ben Morrison was there.
The great Ben Morrison, Melissa Villasenor.
Yes.
The great Gabriel Tigerman.
Yes, who I see on that commercial with the floating hand all the time.
He's killing it.
Him and the other guy. Who's the guy with the mustache? I see him in commercials all the time too.
I never met him.
Oh, really? He was there when we were filming, or maybe you weren't in those scenes. I can't remember, but
he was there at the table read, and then the week I was.
That's why I don't understand how come the show hasn't gotten picked up yet. Every single person in the cast is killing it commercially. I see them in, can't that translate from commercials to the show?
No? Well, you know more about the business than I do.
Yeah, I know that the business has no rules, has no mercy. It's just a tornado of unexpected, no rules in this business.
I mean, our pilot, I think, is such a typical Hollywood story where the cast was great.
Cast was great. I mean, the material was funny. We had a great time on set. It's just the ultimate question mark, whatever happened with it.
I mean, everyone donated their time. I mean, I think the set designer was some Oscar-winning set designer, and the camera guys were all like,
maybe we should just show up to the office and knock on the door and demand the footage, and then we go pitch it ourselves.
I mean, when you see, I think we should pitch it to Spike TV, because I think they'll pretty much take any idea.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I always thought Spike was a good home, but you know what? If it never gets picked up, at least we found each other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to believe that after 2 years, the odds are getting lower and lower.
Yeah. Was it 2 years that is where you started to wane your hopes?
Well, it was. I think we shot May of 2012, and it's now June of 2014. I'm getting choked up here.
By the way, you guys can't see it, but Earl has a pink knuckle brass rings on his microphone. It's pretty hilarious.
These are the only. This is the only sponsor of Inappropriate Earl. As you can see, the book in front of you is the biography.
Sex, Drugs, Rat, and Roll.
The biography of the great singer from Rat, Stephen Pearcy.
Oh.
He has a company called Mike Knuckles, and I thought, wow. and he is the only sponsor of this show.
Mike Knuckles. I can't tell you how many times I've had a microphone in my hand and I thought I need some pink knuckles to go along with it.
Well, I also have two
Now I
in red
know.
and blue. I mean, it's
Okay.
as you can see.
You got to start videotaping this.
Well, video, as you know, it's for a podcast. I looked into it because I thought, how neat would it be, like right now, to have a camera on you,
Sure.
camera on me. I think you're a good-looking dude. I've seen you at Swingers getting some late-night tuna.
Late night tuna. Yeah, what's that? Every time I'm out and I'm intoxicated after a night out on the town, I get some food, and there's Earl just sitting there eating, and he has to see me in my drunken debauchery, ordering like 4 hamburgers, nachos with extra cheese, and a Coke.
Well, but you also got some women around you, and
Never. I don't know what I've never interacted with a female in L.A.
well, I'm sure after Dumbbells was the hit it was that.
Oh yeah, they just come flocking. No, that was The Hills. The Hills was, it's so funny because I've been an art major my whole life. I've loved creating things, and it's like I'll spend years creating a movie that, like Dumbbells or Two Dudes in a Dream was the movie I created before it. It's like my blood, sweat, and tears. And then this show that I show up to film for, an hour of my time and make bullshit conversation with people. That's where I go, and people flip out and go nuts. It's just so hilarious to me. Still to this day, I will be in a restaurant and have somebody walk up to me. I actually had about a 45-year-old Indian man come up to me once. I was eating, and he just said, "Are you Brian from The Hills?" And I said, "Are you fucking with me?"
No, I didn't watch The Hills. I'm not going to lie to you. Was your name Brian on The Hills?
Yeah, my name was Brian on the show, and but it was all manipulated and wasn't authentic. But I played myself. But it was frustrating because when the show came out, everybody thought that I was this rich, spoiled kid from the Hollywood Hills, but they didn't realize I was from New York. I was like sleeping on a couch, and not only was I not rich, but I was less than rich. I was broke and still am.
And
actually, do you have any money I could borrow, Earl?
I got a couple bucks in the bank.
That's why I'm here today. This pays, right?
Oh yeah, this gets you into the union.
Okay, cool. Okay, great.
The Libido Liquors Actor
I'm actually
Guild.
trying to get out of the union so I don't have to pay my dues anymore since I am broke.
No, this is the fascinating thing to me. It's like people, I just think, assume that you made a movie, it got into theaters, it was Netflix, Hulu, it's a hit. By today's standards, it's most movies don't even get put into theaters these days. Who goes to see a movie in a theater anymore?
It's really hard to get in theaters nowadays. All the theater movies are like the $200 million Michael Bay explosion, 3D. It's very rare. I mean, look at Jon Favreau's latest movie, Chef. I mean, even that got a limited theatrical release, and he's like a great filmmaker. The movie's awesome. But if it's not a huge action CGI thing, it's just the whole. I saw a great article recently. God, I don't. Maybe it's Ivan Reitman or I can't remember, but it's an old school filmmaker. I think he was the guy who did. Gosh, it's escaping me right now, but he's an old school filmmaker, and he basically said, back in the day, you used to know who owned the studio. He could say, oh, that's Wasserman or that's whoever. And nowadays, you don't know because they're just international beasts. They're owned by so many different companies, and they're just machines. And that's why you see, Transformers Part 9. They just keep taking these brands. It's very rare that you've got an original idea, unless you are James Cameron or somebody like that who can get, $1 billion to make Avatar.
I mean, I saw the remake of RoboCop a few months ago, and it was awful.
I didn't see that one, but yeah, RoboCop, I mean, the Lego movie, 21, 22 Jump Street. And listen, those are all good movies, but I'm just saying that's what you're up against if you're an independent filmmaker with an original idea. It's just, any movie that's an original, non kind of commercial idea, what do? They get released in a couple of indie movies here and there, and occasionally they'll gain traction and they'll roll them out a little bit larger. But even with huge movie stars, they're still getting that limited small release. And it's really only cinephiles and movie lovers that will go see them. You're not going to get the average Joe Schmo to go to his indie theater and pay, $8 to see, a movie about a romantic, like what was that movie? Julia Louis-Dreyfus and James Gandolfini. That was a great movie, but I think even that was more of a limited release, right? But a great film. So it's just the nature of the business now. And there's so much distribution. You've got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. It's kind of like, it's good in one way because, there's more ways to get your stuff out. But then it's bad because it's harder to get it seen because it's a sea of content. And it's just like everyone's trying to figure out and catch up now and figure out the best way to distribute content. And it's just hard. I mean, I know a lot of people that have, made movies, indie movies or different things. And it's really hard to get seen nowadays, I feel like.
Well, I mean, I just shot an episode of Rob Schneider's TV show, and he's doing it all on his own. Like
on the internet, right? Like Louis C.K. type of
deal?
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get it, shop it around to like FX and things like that. But like he's paying for everything. He's, all his friends are basically the crew, and I mean it's like, and that's Rob Schneider.
And that's Rob Schneider. That's a guy with decades and a name. And look at that. He's not even getting love. He's got to do it all himself. So imagine now you're a guy who's not Rob Schneider, but you got a good idea.
Like us.
I
should say like you.
Well, no. I mean, right now we're actually. I just finished what's called the Bible. It's we're trying to convert Dumbbells into a television show, and pitch that. But you got to create what they call a Bible, which is just a really extensive treatment, which outlines every season, every episode, every character, and obviously like. If you're a known showrunner or have a track record in television, you don't have to create something as extensive. But I've been doing that, and who knows what'll happen with that? I mean, who am I? They'll probably look at it, and if anything, they'll give me money and then just take it and go on their own. But I'd like to stay positive and optimistic and hope that people will see the value. And you never know. But yeah, it's a shifting landscape these days with the internet and just all these new ways to get stuff out there.
Well, if you get that on TV, due to my extensive background in steam room gym stories, I'd like to be like the...
Oh, no, I've already got a role for you. It's a guy with a hard-on 4. There's
whatever.
4 guys with a hard-on. I want you to be the 4th one. Guys 1 through 3 have lines like, like touch it, stroke it,
suck it.
And then guy number 4 just stands there. And I was like, Earl, that's my guy.
But, well, hey, listen, I auditioned for Gay Cop number 4 once.
The audition process for that role is very interesting.
Oh, I bet. Does it take place at Louis Anderson's house?
Yeah, Bluey Anderson.
Sweet Lou?
Bluey Henderson.
Well, hey, listen.
Oh, stop it. I'm going to smack myself.
No. Just, hold that mic about 8 inches to your mouth and...
oh, boy.
I mean...
The discussion took a turn, but it's Inappropriate Earl, so
yeah.
I figure if I don't, get a little lowbrow here, I'm not really doing my job.
Well, I mean, the whole purpose of this show...
Vagina.
Yeah, vagina. I want this to be like just a conversation like 2 dudes would be having at a bar. I have no set questions.
All right. No, I can tell that, Earl. I can tell there's no...
But I mean, I find that boring.
No,
so Brian, tell us what it was like to make dumbbells.
Yeah. Well, Earl, I found it challenging in pre-production when we lost funding.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to hear that?
Ask me anything you want. What are you off the cuff? This is improv, folks. This is improv.
Well, I got kicked out of the Groundlings, so I don't.
Did you really?
I did.
I have beef with the Groundlings. Because I went, let me.
You tell me your beef, I'll tell you my beef. And I'll name names. No, don't make it quick.
Don't make it quick. Okay. That's what she said. But unfortunately. Okay, yeah. Vagina. So I went to the Groundlings. Now, a quick backstory. I've got extensive background in improv. I've been improvising my whole life. Like, right now, I don't know what I'm going to say next. This is just improv.
But that's what I like.
Yeah. So, but no, true story. I did a movie where the whole movie, the character had minimal lines, but the director knew I was good at improv. So I improv'd every scene and became like one of the leads in the movie. And I did Upright Citizens Brigade. I just had various improv background. So I'm like, oh, I heard a lot about the Groundlings. Let me go and check this out. So I go, and the first thing you have to do is a group improv audition. That's the first step of the Groundlings. So in my head, I'm like, that's kind of weird, but okay. So I go, and they put you in this classroom that's like, the size of a small living room with like 20 people and one improv teacher. And I'll never forget, they said, okay, I want everybody at the same time to pretend that you're a tow truck driver. And now everybody in the room's all of a sudden pretending like they're towing a car or doing something. And I'm just like, man, this is so stupid. Like, so then we had to do something where we pretend we're a detective. Anyway, make a long story short, the end of the class, they're like, we're going to notify you and let you know where we think you should be placed in the program. So they call me. And I there was like 4 or 5 other people that went with me, so I knew what feedback they were getting as well. And for everybody, they said the same thing. They said, you're not prepared for Improv 101. You need to do a 6-week course of basic improv before you can be an Improv 101. So now knowing that all my friends who are all experienced actors got the same call, I said to the lady on the phone, I said, ma'am, I'm fine with doing your program, however you guys, whatever your thing is, but I just got to call out the elephant in the room of that. It's bullshit that you're just making me do a 6-week program because that's more money for you guys. Because to tell me that I can't do basic Improv 101, it's like with the process that I just went through, knowing about improv, I'm like, it's just ludicrous, and I don't like the fact that I'm like what would you call it, a pawn in your system of making money rather than recognizing, okay, this person knows improv, this person doesn't, and placing accordingly. And her response to me was so offensive. She says, sir, it just sounds like your ego has been bruised. And I said, wow. I go, that's your response for a potential customer? I go, you think this is about my ego? I said, no, this is about money. I said, I don't want to spend 6 weeks of my money on something of saying yes and for 6 weeks that I've just done. So I just said, your program is full of shit. And I said, I hope your building burns and dies. I didn't say that, but I thought it really hard. And I hung up the phone.
See, that was good improv right there. You improvised the line.
Exactly, that I didn't actually say. So take that, Groundlings.
I mean, I just, I was lied to, I took the first level, and, back then it was like you do the first 6 classes, and then they give you feedback.
So they got you for those first 6.
So I do the first 6, and the guy, Sean Hogan, my teacher.
Naming names.
Yeah, why not, man?
Hogan, more like Blogan.
Yeah, I mean...
Improv again in your face.
Yes.
Vagina.
Suck it, Hogan. He's like, dude, you're the funniest guy in class. You're the team leader. You just need to work a little bit on your space work, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's just like the fake holding of a glass or,
Which, let me tell you, that's bullshit, because this guy holds a fake glass like you would never. Oh,
yeah.
He's doing it right now. Oh my God, there's a glass. It's in your hand. It's a martini. It's good. It's dirty. Yes. And boom.
Yes, and there you go.
There we go.
12th session comes.
12. You're up to 12 now.
So I take I finish the course.
Because you're committed.
And he sits in the middle of the room. We're all out in the hallway. We go in one at a time. And I'm thinking at the worst, he's going to tell me you get to go on to level 2. I walk in. I literally, before my ass hit the chair, he's like, you're not good enough to do this, right?
He said that to you before you were going to perform.
No, I mean, so the season is over, so now you get your feedback for what, and I'm like, well, you told me at the end of the 6th session, like, I basically was the best one here. He's like, no, you're not good enough to do this. You can repeat if you want. So I just think it's a total scam.
It is a scam. Like, listen, most acting programs in LA are just people that are failed actors that are now using whatever experience they have to create these codependent relationships. I know so many actors, they're so pathetic. They're so dependent on their acting teachers, acting coaches. And even, I've seen it before in plays that I've done where actors give directors so much credit. And even an old acting teacher of mine, I'll never forget, she told me, she said, as an actor, you don't get to have an opinion. You just have to be clay for the director.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm done with this program. You know, as someone who writes and directs as well, it's like sometimes actors have such a cheesy mentality of they give their power away to these people that there's no right or wrong in acting. If the line is, you know, I'm cold right now, I could say it like I'm cold right now. I could say I'm cold right now, you know, and who's to tell you which is the correct way, you know? So obviously there's techniques, there's lessons, and there are great acting teachers. You know, I went to Leslie Kahn for many years, and I love that program. I love Leslie Kahn. I always recommend it to people. But I just think, you know, as an actor, don't give away your power so much. And then there's also people that they get so addicted to their one program. You know, one thing that I thought that really helped me is going to several different programs, you know, different ways to skin a cat. And then you got to come up with your process through all these different ways. And that's why a good improv class is a good complement to a good acting class. But just don't, you know, remember that it is a business. The longer they keep you there, the more money they make. If you're paying $300 a month, why are they going to tell you you're great? I don't need you anymore. It's $300 out the window for them. I mean, think about that. If acting class is $300 a month and they've got 100 students.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what is that? $300,000 a month? Are you kidding me? Earl, I think we need to become acting coaches. I think that's really the epiphany I'm having right here.
But why not? I mean,
I'm serious.
I was in Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers. Were you in Benchwarmers?
I was the porta potty guy. I threw up.
Really? I got to rewatch that movie.
Big scene. About 20 minutes in.
So you can coach actors, but actors are good at throwing up anyway, especially female ones.
Oh, they're all twats in this city.
Vagina.
I mean, you know, but the Groundlings, the way it's set up, at least when I was there, was like if no one moves on from the lab into the performance group, then no one can really move on from level 3 and so on and so forth. So it's like, even if you're good enough to move on, they hold you back and just take your money again.
How funny is that it's such bullshit that I didn't even make it past the first interview because I called bullshit. From that first interview, I was like, bullshit.
Well, they're so used to people kissing their ass just to get in because, you know, they have had some famous alumni. I think Pee Wee Herman. And dude, Pee Wee Herman's really fucking funny.
But that's how most programs get you, is they hold over your head who's been through the program. But if you think about it, if you're an acting program in Hollywood, odds are you've had at least 5 famous people come through your program. You know, because when everybody moves out here, they're going to go study somewhere, and then that place has you forever to say, well, I coached Cameron Diaz when she first moved out here, and it's like, oh my God, it's Cameron Diaz's coach. Meanwhile, you know, she went there once, and now they forever use that. So I don't know. There are good acting programs and coaches out there. It's just like anything in life, don't give your power away. And there's really no question that you don't know the answer to.
Well, I mean, you brought it up.
Vagina.
If you're for you alcoholic listeners out there, and I'm assuming there are some that listen to this show, every time Brian says vagina, take a shot, you know.
Yeah, just take a shot, okay? Vagina, vagina, vagina.
This episode will be airing within an hour, so I'm much better now at...
Oh, this is going to be on air in an hour.
It's going to be on air, well, whenever you leave. It takes me about 20 minutes to edit it, you know, put the music where it needs to be.
So when I get mean texts from females that know me on Facebook, they're like, you said vagina an awful lot, Brian. By the way, take a shot.
Yeah, but...
And then I'm going to say, but it was inappropriate, Earl.
Yeah, but they're ass kissers. They're gonna want to be in on the next shoot. I mean, you're gonna be one of the next big wave of producer, actor, directors. I mean, you got talent, and I mean, you know. But getting back to these acting,
no, go on.
Yeah, you're the real deal. I could spot talent, like, you know, you're a big, good-looking dude. You're hungry. You're creative. I mean, you know, it's just that you need that one, you know, either person or project to get you over the top, you know.
I appreciate that, Earl. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never wanted to quit this business more than I have this year.
Oh, it's a horrible business.
It's a horrible business.
From the standpoint of people who shouldn't make it, people who don't, people who should don't.
Yeah, it's just, you know what it is? I like to, I come from a sports background in the sense that, basketball was a big part of my life up until I moved to Hollywood. And with basketball, I loved that I could go to the gym, spend hours and hours in the gym, working hard, working on my weaknesses, working on my left hand, working on my dribbling skills, and then I could apply that in the season. I could impress my coaches. I could move up the totem pole. I could get more playing time. I could get results in the game. And with this business, it's like it's sometimes it's harder to apply work ethic in places because there's no, it's not like you can go to the park and play pickup games and practice. It's, I can sit in my room and write stuff, but I can't give myself $1 million to make it. And it seems harder to apply hard work and get results for that. It's more of a crapshoot, and that can be frustrating. And that seems everybody I know in this business seems to agree. Like you said, there's people that move out here and a week later they book something and now they're huge and they're getting tons of opportunity. And then you've got another guy for 10 years. He's been killing it in comedy clubs. He's made 1 million YouTube videos, but just still seems to just flatline or something. And talented people. I can't begin to tell you how many people I know that are so talented and so funny and so good at what they do, especially musicians. And they're just, broke and bartending. And it's like, go figure. I don't get it sometimes.
Well, there's so much that's out of your control. You're powerless. It's
Yeah.
a very powerless business from our end.
It is, and that's kind of why I started writing and producing, was to try and take back some of that power. But just to give you an example, I spent 5 years making Two Dudes in a Dream, which was an independent movie that I got people like Jason Mewes and Andy Milonakis and people that I was really proud to work with and excited, and created this little indie movie. And that came and went and didn't really do too much for my career but it did give me a resume and it helped me in getting Dumbbells made. But now here we are 9 years later, Dumbbells is out, and I work in a restaurant. I'm still a waiter. I've got good things going around, but it's not like what you would think. It's not, everybody always says, it's an amazing accomplishment. You wrote a movie, you starred in it, you've got distribution, it's in theaters, but literally nothing in my personal life has changed, or my career.
Which is crazy to me.
I mean, it's crazy to me, and that's not to say it won't happen. That's not to say that, I do believe, that you put something out there into the universe, you put your hard work. I believe there will be reward. But it's not as black and white, and it's not like, okay, movie's over, let's bring the next opportunity and the reward. It's just so abstract, and there seems to be no rhyme or reason. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, there's so many good movies that if you'll watch and look at all the people that aren't the leads, but are maybe like the best friend, and they're in a ton of scenes, and then you've never seen them again. They've literally, I heard that, that guy, the Shermanator from...
I was just going to say him.
I think he works in a sushi restaurant in Santa Monica. That blew my mind to hear that.
Now, here's a dude. He's the guy...
The Shermanator. Who doesn't know How is that guy not
red
in some
hair
comedy series somewhere?
Kind of like beaver teeth.
Yeah.
And, he's like that guy, Courtney Gaines.
Who's that one?
He was basically he was in like Can't Buy Me Love and Children of the Corn. He was that quintessential dude you saw in every 80s, early 90s teen movie. Yeah. And you're like, this guy has to be a millionaire.
You want to talk about fleeting success. Look at Brandon Routh, the guy who was the Bryan Singer Superman.
Oh!
Right? Like, could you imagine you book Superman, you're the new Superman, you're on top of the world. Couple of years later, nobody knows about you. You've been replaced, and you're on some pilot that I think aired maybe 4 episodes and got canceled.
Watch out for those twank parties up in the hills.
You know, how many casting directors right now are like casting something and they're just going, who can we get? What about the guy, the guy they put that $1 billion franchise on that failed, Brandon? Yeah, let's get him. Not.
Well, what's even crazier is like,
which, by the way, I'm not bad mouth. I feel bad. Like I think he should be working. I'm saying that's the business. I'm making fun of the business, not him. I want to be clear. Vagina.
Take that shot. Well, I mean, I go on a lot of commercial auditions, and when I see like these well-known actors at the same auditions I'm at, it's like we should not be going out for the same roles.
I know. Well, that was the thing that was frustrating for me when I, right after I did the MTV show Disaster Date, I had a window where I had like 5 auditions a day. It was insane. I didn't realize at the time how awesome it was. I mean, I did know that, but it was also, it was overwhelming. But the point of the story is I would go the distance on so many of these things. But then what I realized, I'd be in the casting office and I would hear the effing assistant offering the roles to name actors that me and the other guys. So what they do is they audition no names. They take those 3 to 5 no names as far as they can, and those are all backups if they don't get the names that they want for the thing. And so I would always go the distance, but then always lose out to names, and it was maddening. And there was this pilot once that they brought me in, the director, the writer, everybody was like, you're our guy, you're the guy we want. They actually filmed a couple scenes on a red camera with one of the actresses.
Right.
Because they were getting resistance from the studio because they said, well, who is this guy? We don't know him, and he doesn't have any, series regular leading TV credits. But the director, the producers, everybody was fighting for me, and the network would not approve. They just said, we want this guy who was he was a stand-up comedian who had a following on YouTube. He had like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're like, this is the guy we want because he'll bring his fan base with him. So I remember after that happened, that's when I think that's when I said, okay, I'm going to make Dumbbells, because I was so frustrated that and that's not to say that it can happen. I mean, there's people obviously that book jobs that are, no names. So, but it's tough. You're up against a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's. Even for commercials now, you see big name actors doing like Dexter's doing voiceovers on I think the new Dodge.
I noticed that a lot. There's a lot of voiceovers, like voices that I recognize, like Jim from The Office. He's the voice of, there's a lot of,
Kiefer Sutherland is doing, I think, some voiceover thing, and he's got a show on the air.
I mean, think about it. If you and I were going to make a show right now, are we going to try to get people that have fan followings and that are established, or are we going to try and get 2 guys that nobody knows? Of course, from a business perspective, we're going to go for the people that are known and have followings, unless we know we have millions of marketing dollars behind it, and we're specifically trying to find new people.
But I don't even know if that works. I mean, I'm friends with acquaintances with Whitney Cummings, and friends with Chris D'Elia, and I don't know how much was put into the marketing of Whitney. I mean, it was billboards, not bus benches, but the side of buses. I mean, I've never, in my 45 years on Earth, seen a show marketed like that.
Yeah. And it failed, right? Didn't it get canceled? I don't want to say fail. I mean, it went.
I think it went a season and a half, or maybe 2 seasons.
You want to know what the problem with that show was to me? And I want to say that I'm a huge fan of both those guys. It had nothing to do with them. And actually, my old manager was the executive producer. But to me, the problem with that show was not the content, not the actors, none of that. It was the fact that it was had a laugh track and was done like an old school sitcom. I just think that style of sitcom, I remembered watching it and feeling kind of thrown by the laugh track. It just felt forced and weird to me. And I just think the style of sitcoms nowadays is more single cam, more like a 30 Rock or The Office. I think that's what people like. And I think that the show just having, I just think Seinfeld, King of Queens, I think those are some of the Friends were some of the last shows to really, embrace that style and kind of flourish. But I think nowadays, I just I don't think audiences want to watch multi-camera laugh track shows. It's just by the nature of having that be like that makes it feel outdated. And that's just my 2 cents. Again, I love Chris D'Elia. I think he's hilarious.
Very nice guy too.
Whitney Cummings. I couldn't have more respect for all these people. It's just I know that when I'm watching television, if it's a laugh track, multi-camera type of show, it pulls me out. Like I'm not into it personally.
Well, I just think the marketing for that show, it was like you were almost sick of the show before it aired, because those
oversaturated with the marketing, you think?
I mean, I've never seen a show that was so heavily promoted before it came out.
You know what's been promoted a lot lately that I'm kind of blown away by, mostly because it's, I guess, Hulu's now really coming out of the gate strong. You see that show with the guy, like it's called Deadbeat or Ghost Hunter.
I know what you're talking about.
I see it everywhere, and I'm just like, I'm like, damn, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, all these companies now are like new mini networks.
Well, they're really promoting Orange is the New Black a lot.
Yeah, I haven't Vagina. I haven't seen that show.
It's pretty good. I mean,
but I hear about it a lot.
I got into it because my guy from The Wire is in that, the Schreiber kid.
Who's your guy from The Wire? the guy with
Schreiber.
He's got the hair and the stuff.
The mustache. He's got the mustache.
Yeah, he's got the mustache.
He's a prison guard.
Yeah, prison guard.
So, what is this? Are we back at the groundlings? Act like a piece of bacon?
Groundlings. They need to be groundlings.
They need to be grounded.
Grounded. Hey, fuck the groundlings.
Well,
right?
I mean, I just would wish there was a little more honesty involved. It's like, getting back to the acting coaches. My sister went to the D.L. Brown School.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Apparently it's like the #1 school. The D.L. Brown, Joanne Barron.
Where, here in L.A.?
Yeah, and or at least it was. Like De Niro would give the graduating speech.
Oh, yeah.
And D.L. Brown, if you're thinking, who is that? He was the car stereo salesman in Fast Times.
Yeah, that's who I need to train me.
That's
when I watched Fast Times, I was like, that guy's an acting coach.
But that's crazy that guy, at least when my sister was there, this is 10 years ago, it was by far and away, this is the guy to go to.
Yeah.
And
see, when I first moved here, everyone said Leslie Kahn or Ivana Chubbuck. Those are the two people that seem to be recommended the most. And I did Ivana Chubbuck for about a month.
And who are they?
Yeah,
I've never heard of either.
Yeah, they're people that, they got in at the right time. They're good at what they do, and they took off. I will say this. I honestly, because I don't want to come across like a negative downplayer because I got so much from the Leslie Kahn studio. I absolutely loved it. And I also, we're talking about how hard it is and all that stuff. But I mean, I also know a lot of people that, they're on series, they're doing well, and they're working, and so you gotta, if you want to be in this business, you have to be optimistic, work hard and just keep the faith, and you never know what can happen. I mean, people thought I was crazy when I said I was gonna make a movie, and it came out, and regardless of what it's done for me as of yet, it still is something I'm extremely proud of, and hey, if I quit the business today, I'd feel really good about the fact that I kind of came, I saw, and I did what I set out to do. So, success and all that stuff shouldn't be based on external things. At the end of the day, this is an artist's business. So if you want to create art or something creative and you've gotten the ability to do that, and in your case, you love to do stand-up comedy. So if you're getting up in comedy clubs every night and making people laugh, who's to say you're not a success? Maybe it didn't spawn into, 10 movies or whatever, worldwide fame, but, there's plenty of people that are going to look at you, and I admire you, like I wish I could be out every night doing stand-up comedy around town and killing it. But
I'm killing it all right.
My penis is too small, so it wouldn't work.
But you're a big guy, so it's gonna look small.
Yeah, just in relation. I wish I was smaller, so my penis looked bigger. Vagina.
Well, yeah, it's like that Asian basketball player Yao Ming, 7'7". I mean, can you imagine how little his dick looks? I mean, if you're 5'5" in Asian and it's small, when you're literally 2 feet taller.
Yeah.
I mean, literally 2 feet taller. It's got to look like an ant getting out of a fur coat. I mean, it's could look pretty small. Pretty small.
Thank you for that visual. And they dared say you weren't good at improv. How dare they?
But the pressure. Now, this is not a planned bit. I didn't know what you were going to talk about. If you think about, a lot of great debate on what's the toughest job in sports. I think it's being a goalie in hockey.
Goalie. Wow. Just off the top of my head, I would definitely agree with that.
Quarterback, that's
quarterback's really hard.
You're the leader. But I mean, if you think about the goalie in hockey, here you have a 6-ounce piece of frozen rubber coming at you at upwards of 100 miles an hour.
Wait, are we talking about Eskimo sex or vagina?
You got players in front of you waving their sticks in front of your face to distract you.
Are we talking about Eskimo sex or vagina?
Football, you got 11 large dudes wanting to kill you specifically.
Yeah.
Baseball, a catcher's a tough gig, but I think the toughest job in sports is to be an Asian basketball player in the NBA. Hold on though.
Okay.
To be an Asian basketball player in the NBA.
So you're basically talking about Jeremy Lin.
And have to, just one guy really. And have to shower in an NBA locker room. I mean,
that's part of your bit. Come on now.
The smallest dick in the locker room's got to be 8.5 soft.
But wouldn't it be even more weird if he was the biggest?
It would be weird.
I think it's got to be harder to be a black guy with a really small penis because you're expected to be big.
Right. I mean, I don't know too many who have a small one, but this really is.
Imagine every time if you're a black guy with a small penis, and every time you go to hook up with a girl, she's more disappointed than if you would have been an Asian guy or a white guy, and he's got to be like, "Listen, I know, but he's got to explain it." So that's got to be even tougher than being the Asian guy with the small penis.
I mean, listen, if you've ever seen a Lexington Steele video and his Twitter handle is Lex11, I think you can take a guess at what the 11 stands for. Any black guy's going to seem small. He's the real deal.
I mean, this is a hard topic for us to talk about because we just can't relate because we're so well endowed.
I mean, I'm not. If you are close friends with me, you've seen the cell phone picture. Let's just say it's the world's only double headshot.
I don't even know what that means, but
I've gotten a lot of work out of it.
Okay. Hey, listen, if it doesn't work out for us in comedy,
what do you mean if?
There's always porn. Yeah.
I don't think I could do porn. I could produce it, but because I've got some ideas I want to,
Well, I'll tell you my biggest, if I had 2 words of advice for the entire porn industry, it would be these: zoom out.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? I mean, when they do close up of just a penis going in a vagina, it's like, who does that turn on? I mean, you know what I mean? I don't understand why they zoom in so much. And it's like the camera angles. I mean, these are just people that have no business operating cameras. I think people in the entertainment business or the film industry are probably the people most disappointed when watching porn because they're horribly shot. I mean, the acting's atrocious. I mean, let's go porn. We need to evolve and get better porn. So maybe that's your future career is directing porn.
Well, we might be in agreement on that. We could be like the Farrelly brothers of porn because I really don't need to see a close up of some girl's tuna hole.
It's like
after Lexington Steel or Mandingo have pounded it for 20 minutes. I mean, it looks like that thing Boba Fett fell into in Star Wars.
It's like the most attractive thing is a female's curves in her body, and it's like I want to see that. I don't want to just see the Death Star from Star Wars. I want to see the whole ship.
Well, listen, like you said, the female body is stunning. It's beautiful. All shapes or sizes, skinny, fat, in between. I mean, it really is an amazing body. Big boobs, small boobs. I mean,
Absolutely.
But a vagina, when it's been, worked for 20 minutes by a guy with a big dong, it ain't pretty, man.
It's just not the most attractive thing in the world.
It kind of looks like scrunched up deli meat blew up in a fisherman's net.
I got no follow up for that. That's just that was the ultimate description of a.
Well, it's like there's a gay bar at the end of my street.
I didn't say it, so you couldn't do a shot there, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I was teasing the audience.
I mean, listen, if you're having sex for longer than 10 minutes, things are going to get misshapen, sweat involved. I mean, there's a bar at the end of my street. It's a gay bar. I live in a gay neighborhood.
Okay, this conversation is taking a strong turn for the we went from
how to make a movie to
the
name of a gay bar at the end of my street.
Yeah.
But that's a good podcast.
That's a good podcast.
I don't listen to other podcasts to see what type of questions you've been at.
Hey, maybe Earl, should we play an improv game to kind of show the groundling people that are listening to this what they missed out on in our amazingness?
Let me get through this gay bar story.
Okay, so you're at a gay bar.
I'm not at
your knees.
I actually did. I'm in the back. You've heard of open mics in comedy. I was at an open Steve. And see, that's improv. That's just something that's what they call in the business off the cuff.
Okay.
And the name of the bar is called Trunks. Now, if you're familiar with gay bars, they're usually they're named after a sexual innuendo. And so as I was doing comedy at this bar, I said to the owner, I'm like, well, listen, I know down the street there's a bar called the Mother Lode. I can pretty much assume.
Jeez, are these real names?
Yeah.
Or is this like part of your comedy?
No, this
these
is
are real names.
It is part of my comedy, but it's true. I mean, the Mother Lode, okay,
That's
I get it.
Okay.
That's a real bar. And I'm like, but what is Trunks? I don't get the gay reference there. He's like, oh, dude, it's real simple. You see, if you have anal sex long enough, your back door starts to look like an elephant's trunk. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So if my comedy career fails, I want to start a gay bar called the Cockatoo and have all the door handles be these huge dicks.
See, what I don't understand about the naming of gay bars, so kind of in your face, like you don't go to a straight bar and and the name of the bar is not like Get Drunk One Night Stand or like Dick and Vagina Pub.
But how cool would it be if there were bars like that, but for straight people?
Maybe we should follow the gay community, and maybe our bars should be called like Never Remember Your Name, O'Reilly's.
Well, I'm telling you, if there was a bar in Santa Monica, Westwood, maybe in the
Get Laid,
the Bone Zone.
The Bone Zone.
Or the gas station. I'm telling you.
Station.
The Bone Zone I'm obsessed with. And it's just like Larrabee, which is where I live in West Hollywood. It's like the cruising street because all the gay clubs are around here.
Okay.
And, after 2 a.m. on my street, it's like an ant farm of horny gay guys.
Wow.
They're just looking to blow it out.
AKA Earl Skakel's heaven.
No. What I'm saying, well, listen, I moved here right after 9/11, and Jose Iber, world famous hairstylist in my old building, said, Earl, don't go to Larrabee. I'm like, why not? It's a great condo. He's like, do you know what they do to young boys on Larrabee? I didn't know it was the cruising street. It's the main pickup street.
Really?
I was just, how cool would it be though if there was
is that real?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, every time I walk my small dog, who's not with us today, she's chilling at another location.
Nice.
Lois, baby Lois.
Baby Lois.
Undefeated at Michael Vick's house.
Oh, vagina.
I get picked up on, and it's like, I wish there was a straight version of this street.
Seriously, I'd live on that street.
How great would that be, though? It's like you just single horny girls just.
Do you want to know something funny? This is a true story. When I first moved out here, I was jogging and I didn't realize that this was a predominantly a gay neighborhood. And so I was jogging, and it was hot out, so I was shirtless, and I'm jogging along, and yeah, I make a turn, and the next thing I know, I'm on Santa Monica Boulevard, west of La Cienega, and turns out it was the gay pride parade. And so I literally, like, I'm on one block 1 second by myself, just having a normal day of jogging, and then all of a sudden I am around hundreds and hundreds of wild men that are, basically in underwear. And I was just like, "Welcome to Hollywood, Brian." It was pretty funny experience.
And you're a good-looking dude. I mean, like, I'm more of a butch. I could see people thinking you're gay.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that I was an art major, and but yeah, no, I mean, listen, I love the gay community, gay people. I got a lot of gay friends, and
well, you have to in this business.
yeah, I mean, well, even if I didn't have to, like I'm everybody's awesome. I don't believe in discriminating, so I think it's awesome that you live on Larrabee. I think we should, walk your dog together and just kind of, get to know these hooligans a little bit better.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was raised around gay people. My mom, she didn't really leave the house a lot. So, like the hairstylist would come over. He was gay. The manicure lady would come over. She was a complete lesbian. My mom's stylist was a So I'm like, more comfortable. I don't really care.
I have a gay joke.
But please, before you do your gay joke, let me just throw out this disclaimer. My name is Earl Skakel. It's 1:15 on Thursday. I do not necessarily condone or agree with any jokes that guests say on the show. Go.
Okay. So, for people that are gay that are scared to come out to their parents, I empathize with them. And but if I was gay, I would sit my dad down, and I'd be honest with him. I would just look him right in the face, and I'd say, "Dad, if your sperm could swallow themselves, they would."
I think you just got passed at the Comedy Store with that joke. Well, you passed. You're good looking.
Come on, that's gold, man. That's gold.
Listen, I've heard worse. If that makes you feel better.
Listen, I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'll leave that to you.
Well, I mean, but I mean, getting back to like where there was a gay guy that was working on our pilot. It was very under the radar. I forget his exact job. He was like a script supervisor. He had glasses, and he's very creepy, picking up on, probably everyone on the set, and telling completely inappropriate jokes to one of the producers.
Maybe that's where I heard that joke from. Was that guy?
Probably.
That's all coming back to me now.
I mean, if you are homophobic, the entertainment business is not. I've suffered casting couch experiences.
Oh yeah.
I had a dude who was the head of casting at a major studio. He's since passed away, so I don't want to say his name, but he gets me into his office on set.
Oh, I think you told me about this.
Yeah, I mean, and he, this guy was a huge casting guy. I mean, you don't get much bigger than this guy.
Uh-huh.
And he calls me in. I think he saw one of my early stand-up. Whoa, Brian, paramedics.
Sorry about that.
No, it's good for the podcast to have a guest choking.
Go with it. Okay. So anyway, he calls you in his office. He's naked.
No, well, and this is a huge studio. So his office is killer. He had a shower in it. He had almost like a bed. It was just a very, to this day, the nicest casting office I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, he starts talking, "Oh, I love your stand-up. You got a great look," all that stuff. And I was pretty green at the time. So I'm, "Oh, great. Thanks, man. Yeah. And then he'd say, "Hey, man, can I show you something?" And I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? He's like, "Well, I ran a marathon this weekend and my testicles are bruised." And he starts to like unzip his pants. I'm like, "Hey, man, come on."
What?
And the whole shtick was, then he switches bases. "Oh, well, do you want to meet Brittany Murphy right now? She's on set." And I had the biggest crush on Brittany Murphy. This is like maybe 2 years after Clueless.
Is this true?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh! Is
so
this guy still in his position?
No. He actually passed away. And then he actually takes me after I kind of like no thanks, dude. into I think it was the initial table read for King of the Hill, which is really cool because you had the whole kid. Brittany Murphy was there, then I think was that a Mike Judge show or
yes, it was,
and he was there. And who I've met at the Comedy Store several times. You won't now. Here's a guy, Beavis and Butthead. Yeah. All these great. I think he's got something on HBO right now. You won't find a nicer guy. Like that's what I love about the business is when you meet someone like Mike Judge, who's like, I don't know how much money he's worth, but I'm assuming it's a pretty good.
Yeah.
And you would know if he was a gaffer on a non-union pilot. He's just very unassuming and very
awesome.
So there are good people out there.
Absolutely, there's great people
like yourself.
Oh, like you, like
well,
yourself.
I'm trying, but here's we've talked a lot of crazy things today. I don't want to end on this, but I think there's a lot of people, struggling comics, actor friends of mine who listen to the show. I really, in all seriousness, want to analyze not footsteps, dumbbells. Footsteps was my friend's play. Sure. The great Roger Rod's one-man play. I want to go from day one when you thought of dumbbells to getting it in theaters. Like,
sure.
I mean, because to me, and I'm being serious, it really is amazing that, and I don't mean to sound like Tony Robbins, that dumbbell starts off as an idea in your head, probably in your room, and then bam. Take us through.
Sure.
You write it, go.
Well, I'm a huge believer in, your thoughts and what you really believe is what manifests into your reality. I know that can sound cliche, but it's just kind of, if I go off the track record of my experiences so far, my belief in something is to me the driving force and then the goal is to get people around you that have that same belief, and then it just starts to build. And so kind of the way Dumbbells unfolded was, I really wanted to do a television show, or I wanted to create a pilot for a television show, and I wanted to pitch it. And so I was lucky enough, I booked a Sunkist Soda commercial audition that paid me $20,000 up front. It was the highest paying entertainment industry job I'd ever gotten. And so with that money that I made, I said, you know what? I'm going to create a sizzle reel for a television show. And I wanted to do an idea of kind of like a show like The Office, but in a gym. And that was kind of the first kind of birth of Dumbbells. I created a television treatment. I used $7,000, raised money through a couple other people to help me out. And we had my friend who's a producer. I put the whole cast together and we created this thing. And it was so much fun, basically hiring all actors and comedians that I believed in and a production crew and kind of putting this team together and doing this shoot for 2 days. That was Dumbbells, the television show. And so then nothing really ever happened though. Like we pitched it to MTV and they liked it, but they wanted to change it and nothing was really happening with it. And it was such an adrenaline rush to kind of take the power and put it in my own hands and create that I remember I was having coffee in a diner with my friend Hoyt, who's the other star.
Awesome.
Hoyt Richards is awesome. Amazing actor, amazing writer. And
wasn't he like the first male supermodel?
The first male supermodel ever. Really great guy, incredibly down to earth, and knows his shit. And so we were having coffee, and had the epiphany. Because him and I we loved to write scripts, and we were working on some script that kind of. I know myself, I had lost a little bit of my enthusiasm and belief in. I said, I'm not really excited about this idea anymore. And then all of a sudden the epiphany happened. What if we take the Dumbbells thing that we loved creating, what if we turn that into a movie? And I fell in love with the idea of because the thing I do love about independent filmmaking is I love that as long as you can get the budget and get the money and get someone to give you money that will give you the creative freedom, then as an artist, you get to play. And so that I'll never forget, we got so excited. We started writing immediately. Normally when him and I would write something, we would outline it for a month or two, but I couldn't even wait. Like I had so many ideas I wanted. So we started writing it really quickly, and him and I worked well because he was more of a studied bookworm, kind of knows about screenplay writing and structure, and I was more of this raw, just have a million ideas. So we worked well. He kind of guided my creativity, and that's not to say that he's not creative. I'm just saying that was kind of the dynamic in which it worked really well. And so we started writing, and then we're writing. We're so excited about it, and we're at this point we're thinking, we need to get funding, we need to, and then we got so frustrated one day because there was no kind of momentum anywhere other than us. It was our dream and our vision. And we went to a sushi place once, and we got drunk, and it was right then and there where we said, you know what, fuck the entertainment industry, screw everybody. We're making this. We're going to make this movie. We'll borrow a camera, we'll rent a camera, we'll do it all completely grassroots. Doesn't matter. We're making it. And we called a couple people we knew, and we said, we're making the movie. And what was fun about it, and what I learned, and this is where I believe in the power of, manifesting things, something shifted once we went from this is something we're writing and would like to make to no, this is something we have, and this is something we're making. And what it does is it's like a chemical reaction to the universe, to people. People go, oh, these guys are making this. I want to get involved. I want to get on board. And it builds momentum. And kind of from there, that's when all of a sudden puzzle pieces started coming to us like a magnet, because we're doing it no matter what. And so next thing you know, we had people that wanted to be involved in making movies say, well, let me get the script. And now those people are thinking, well, they're going to do this anyway. Let me see what I can bring to the table. And then, make a long story short, people kept asking us for the script again once they knew like this thing's happening. And then that's where my friend he gave it to a guy who had always been interested in potentially getting involved in the independent film business, and he was a successful businessman. And this guy read it, and he flew here from Florida to LA and meets us in the coffee shop. We're working on the latest draft, and sits down and just says, guys, I really want to make this movie. And what was funny was one of the guys we were working with at the time who ended up directing it starts pitching him. And he's like, no, don't pitch me. He's like, I'm in. And the guy, he kept pitching him. And I had to shut him up and say, hey, he's telling us he's in. Like, stop pitching the guy. And, he shook our hand and was like, listen, I'm in for, minimum around $300,000 to make this movie. And all of a sudden we went from these guys with this passion and this script saying we're making it to now we've got $300,000 funded. Boom. So from that point on, then it was about continuing to, with any idea, it's all about the team, and you have to have a team. And so from there, it was like, let's get a producer that can kind of grandfather this. And I had just done a sketch comedy pilot with Barry Katz, and I had a relationship with him. And so I emailed Barry the script, and I said, I got a guy who wants to fund this. I said, would you be willing to help? And he wrote me back immediately and said, absolutely, I believe in you. And he kind of came on, and he got us our casting director, Julie Ashton, who I had a relationship with just from auditioning for her.
I bet.
And
did Barry take 80%?
No. Barry was extremely gracious.
There's a first.
Yeah, and but no, Barry was great. Barry got us Jay Moore and Tom Arnold and
Fabio.
No, Hoyt Richards, my partner in crime, my co-writer and co-star. He's best friends with Fabio. Both supermodels, and so that's how Fabio came in.
Who was great, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought Fabio was great. Fabio is such a sweetheart. He's so not what you think. Like, he is a smart, down to earth, just sweetheart of a man. Like, just a great guy. I couldn't speak more highly about somebody. I love Fabio. And from there, the whole thing just continued to come together. Next thing we know, we had our whole production team. We had a casting director. We had our date to officially start pre-production, officially start shooting. And the whole thing came together kind of miraculously. And it's just been such an amazing ride. And regardless of how popular the movie is or gets, I couldn't be more proud of it. It's creatively what I wanted to create and set out to make. And, I just really hope, with this podcast, more people. Right now, it's available. You can rent it on Amazon.com. You can rent it on iTunes. You can rent it. You can even rent it on YouTube. You can rent movies. It's like $3 on YouTube now to stream it.
Netflix too, or is it
Netflix? It's not available on Netflix as of right now.
Redbox?
We're working on that. No, not Redbox either. That's the other thing I've really learned, that the DVD market's just not what it used to be either. It just seems to be more about online streaming. I mean, it was in theaters in 15 cities at the beginning of the year, and then it was available on VOD, and it was featured on DirecTV. But right now, it's just available on Amazon, iTunes, and YouTube. And where it will be available from here moving forward is unknown. All those deals are still being worked out, but definitely, if you're listening, you want to check it out, you can go to iTunes, Amazon, or YouTube.
It's really funny, and I'm not saying that just because you're here.
I appreciate that.
For once, I'm trying to be serious. I love comedies like that, and I think you really love it if you've ever been a member at a gym. Like I've either been a member or worked at every gym in this city, literally from Gold's in Venice to Equinox.
Yeah, you're a big fitness guy. I know that about you.
Well, they're the only jobs I've ever had. Front desk. I was a trainer, and so I like Hoyt's character of that.
He's naked in the locker room.
That older, super good-looking stud at the gym. There's always that one dude.
Yeah. And if you guys want more info, the website's dumbbellsthemovie.com.
And I know there was a Twitter. The Twitter account didn't seem to be like super active. I mean, was Twitter not?
No, that's the hard thing too with independent filmmaking is you only have so much money. I mean, with most things, they have like a team or a department that are their social media. So we tried as much to do as much as we could on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, but it's hard, like we've all got full-time jobs and things we're doing. So it's just, you can only be on Twitter so much. I'm barely on my own Twitter, let alone Dumbbell's Twitter. So, Twitter was a challenge, and Facebook and all these things, just because they're the type of things where you got to be posting constantly every day.
Well, I've got the time.
Yeah. So maybe I should hire you next time to be my social media guy.
Well, that's one of the benefits of being an unsuccessful stand-up comic. You got a lot of time to tweet.
Yeah. Time to tweet.
Time to tweet.
Time to tweet's the name of my punk rock band.
See, you're a jack of all trades. You're like the Lee Ving of great musician from the band Fear. He's an actor.
Absolutely.
I admire. Or Jeff Goldblum. He's a horny guy on the scene. A great actor.
Jeff Goldblum.
He's trying to. I love. I have a few lady friends of mine who he's taken.
I was in a play, and Jeff Goldblum came to the play. I was shocked. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, he's great, man.
Jurassic Park is in the building.
The Fly.
I mean, come on now.
Now you've acted with like big name actors. Is it hard? Like my biggest problem, like in the scenes I filmed last week on Rob Schneider's show, I had a few scenes directly with him, and I know him, but for me, since I'm not really an actor, it was hard for me to like have this one particular scene where I had to look him in the eye. He's looking at me in the eye, and I'm like, "Fuck, this is Deuce Bigelow." Like,
yeah.
Is it hard for you to like have a scene with someone famous? And
absolutely, in Dumbbells, I had a few scenes with some really famous people. I remember I had a scene with Jaleel White, who, by the way,
Urkel.
Awesome. Yeah, but you can't call him that because the guy is so nice, so funny. I've actually met him before that, but I would never call him Urkel. I was a huge fan of Family Matters. But you want to give a guy respect. I mean, he's Jaleel White. He's not Urkel, and I'm sure he gets sick of that.
Well,
so
fuck him.
yeah, no. But I was nervous to do the scene with him because I'd grown up watching that show, and I was such a fan of his. I thought he was just. I loved Family Matters, and I loved his character. I loved how he would do Steve Urkel, but then Stefan, the cool version. So I was definitely nervous in that scene in the back of my mind. When I worked with Tom Arnold, I was definitely, a little kind of nervous. Carl Reiner, who's a comedy legend.
Oh my God.
I was like, it definitely plays into it. But once you kind of get into it and you're doing it, it's like anything else. You end up being okay.
Well, I recently met Roseanne Barr. I was doing a short film, I guess you'd call it, for her film production company, and she opened the door to the studios. And I was kind of starstruck, so I went to shake her hand, and she's like, "Oh, I don't shake hands."
Oh,
And,
really?
she's like a Howie Mandel germ freak type. I'm like, and I said to her, I thought she would find this funny. I guess it wasn't. I'm like, "You'll let Tom Arnold eat your pussy, but you won't shake my hand."
You said
I went for it. I took a shot.
What did she say?
She kind of chuckled and is like,
Oh my God!
I went for it.
I think that's what we have to end on, Earl. I think like that line.
Oh, this is just getting going, bro.
Yeah. No, you know what? I wish I could.
Do you have to go somewhere?
Well, I'm in a new play and I have rehearsal at 2 p.m.
What time is it right now?
1:30 and it's
All right,
in the
well,
Valley.
Okay, well, listen. In all seriousness, now I'm under the gun. Under the Gun, great Kiss song on Animalize. Under the gun,
Vagina.
Only a Kiss album Mark St. John played guitar on, except for Lonely is the Hunter.
But I am sad to be leaving. I would stay here and chat forever.
Well, I would like you to come back again.
Whenever you want, Earl.
And in all seriousness, I know we got to wrap up. I do apologize for making you come back because I fucked up on the film, the recording of this. But listen, support this man. What's your Twitter?
At Brian_Drolet, BRIAN_Drolet, DROLET.
And get Dumbbells, YouTube, Hulu,
Amazon, iTunes.
It's really funny. And
thank you, Earl.
And keep Brian Drolet's name in your mind because he's the real deal, and he's just a good guy, and I like seeing good guys or girls make it. This is another episode of Inappropriate Earl. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, or for you Steve Job pole smokers, we're on iTunes, Inappropriate Earl. Don't look up Earl Skakel on iTunes, as you'll be directed to my shitty comedy album, which I think I've sold 15 copies in 4 years. I mean, this is not Kiss Alive 2 burning up the charts. Leave a review for us on iTunes. And if you hate the show, say it. I leave all reviews up, bad or good, until our next guest will be the great Stephen Pearcy, the singer from Rat. Well, he's not the singer from Rat anymore, but he's coming back for more. Thank you guys for listening. Brian Drolet's the best. Damaged Goods. Let's get Damaged Goods in production 2015. That is all. See you.